Do you want to talk about our personal experiences or our traditions if we watch stuff during holidays each year?
Well, I think Lara mentioned a little bit earlier in the episode that my parents watch a lot of action movies, which is hilarious because we just finished our kind of action phase of this podcast journey. And I'm sure I'll be watching a lot of Mission Impossible or James Bond during the holidays with my family. And I am also flying over back home to Toronto this year. So, like, I'm very, very excited. Yeah, last year I watched Mission Impossible with them I think during Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. I think we had not necessarily like a marathon, but like consecutively just watched, I think, the third and the fourth one. And it was fun. And I think like because, yeah, like as mentioned in the previous part of this episode, is that it is like a crowd pleaser. Like Mission Impossible is not an action genre that takes itself so seriously. It's literally just so fun. And it's a little bit cheesy, but in like such an enjoyable and like fun kind of way that I think it's such a great family movie as an action movie. And it's not like gory and it's not like too serious and dramatic. And there's not so much that like if you skip like 10 minutes of it to, I don't know, check on the turkey and stuffing or whatever, that you'd be missing so much. And of course we've watched it so many times that I think it's a good one. I also want to say, like, music wise, I randomly listen to a lot of Hanson during the holidays, like obviously Mbop, but even the songs in like the later parts of their career, I think it's somehow also very like family Christmas vibes. I don't think my parents actually listen to it. I just put it on. But I think it's just because it's like three brothers in a band. Although I guess I don't listen to Jonas Brothers during the holidays specifically. So I don't know what the logic is there. How about you?
Oh, I love that. I think it's funny. Neither of us like specifically watch holiday movies, but like I think I alluded to this earlier. It's not necessarily about like watching something that is a representation of the holiday on screen. It's more like what your own familial traditions are, particularly because like not everyone celebrates Christmas, so it's different from family to family. But I don't feel like I have one film or like one kind of film that I always watch over the holidays. I do feel like I want to watch Narnia this year. Like that just feels like such a cozy movie to me. Like something about it, I really want to watch that in December. And this isn't really a movie, but like every year on Christmas, my dad puts on the Queen's Speech, which is like, I think a tradition for a lot of families to watch her like noon address. And this was interesting because in Spencer, they show her recording it. Like you see it kind of from the other side. It's like millions of people all over the world tune in for the Queen's address, and I got to see like how she actually recorded it. Spencer is fiction, so I'm sure it wasn't exactly accurate, but that's just something we watch every year. And then also jazz. For some reason, like in late December, my dad always brings out the jazz, like just lots of, I don't know. So to me, because I don't listen to jazz by myself, it just feels very like cozy and wintry and festive. And not a specific movie, but my family always, between Christmas and New Year's, goes to the theaters a bunch to watch a lot of movies that we've like missed over the last little while. And this is because we always went to Montreal to visit my grandmother, and there was a theater literally across the street from her place. And so we would just like 2 or 3 times in that 1 week, we would go see movies. So like whenever I think of the December movies that I've seen in past years, I think of her place. Like, she's still alive, by the way, in case that wasn't clear. Like, I saw Greatest Showman, then I saw Cats, then I saw Zathura and Brave and Mr. Megorium's Magic Emporium. Like, I'm just remembering random movies that I've seen in that period of time. Oh, and Knives Out. So I just, like, I always watch a bunch of movies in that 1 week.
Nice. I think that's so special because it just shows that when even though like those movies aren't necessarily holiday themed movies, like there's no like mention of Christmas or mention of whatever, I think you still kind of associate those movies to that time you spend with the people that you watch it with, and that shows kind of the power of the movies, and it shows the power of going to the cinema. And even like when those movies are released, they really are trying to, I don't want to say capitalize, but they are capitalizing on trying to help you make that memory with your family. This is so completely unrelated, and it's definitely not like anyone's trying to capitalize on this, but in university, during Easter, I didn't go home for one of the years that I was in university, and a few other of my classmates also didn't. And so we ended up watching the extended version of Lord of the Rings over the entire Easter weekend. Of course, it didn't take the entire weekend, but so I always classify Lord of the Rings as an Easter movie, even though obviously it is not an Easter movie, but it's just because I spent a good chunk of time, obviously, because like very long marathon of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and yeah, like it was just like such a great fun time. By the third movie, we were like drawing mustaches, not drawing, but like putting mustaches like on the screen so that whenever the faces lined up, we would like take a shot or like take a sip of a drink or whatever. And then from one mustache, it turned into like 3 on the screen, so that like just more drinking ensued. And yeah, it was just like a really fond memory of not just like the film, because I'd seen those films before, but that moment of gathering. And I think that's kind of what's special about the holiday movies. Like, you don't watch these genre movies, like you don't watch Valentine's Day, you don't watch The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, or I don't know, like those kind of movies really alone. I mean, you can, and I think there's no bad vibes there, but usually you're watching with someone else, and you're usually watching with family or friends, and that's what makes them special, and that's what makes them cozy.
I love that. What we've like put this down to is like about making memories. Like that's what holiday movies are about. Because yeah, when you were saying like it, watching Lord of the Rings, like it always brings you back to that period of time. It's so true that like having one very like memorable experience of a film can always remind you of that when you watch it in future. Like when I think of random other movies I've seen over the years just in theaters, I don't necessarily remember like what theater I saw them at or like what time of year. Like Tenet, I couldn't even tell you like what month that came out in, even though that was like pretty recent. But yet when I think of The Greatest Showman, I always remember that I saw it in December in Montreal, because that just like stands out to me.